The Syrian city of Hama has fallen to rebels in the second major blow in a week to President Bashar al-Assad. Police in New York released new pictures of a suspect they want to question in connection with the killing of a US health insurance boss. The French president rules out resigning after the fall of his prime minister and says he'll nominate a new one in the days ahead.
In an apparent change of position, the ruling People Power Party has said they no longer support President Yoon as the country's leader, saying the country could be in great danger if he remains in power.
Now, the US authorities have cancelled a tsunami warning issued for coastal areas of California and Oregon. People rushed to get to higher ground in San Francisco before the warning was cancelled. The alert, which covered almost 5 million people, followed a magnitude 7 earthquake that struck off the coast of Northern California. There are power cuts right across the region. A parliamentary session in the Bahamas was suspended after an opposition MP threw a ceremonial mace out a window. The scuffle began when the parliamentary speaker refused to allow an opposition leader address allegations in a US indictment. Throwing a mace out a window has significance in the Bahamas, as an oppositional leader did the same in a push for electoral change in 1965.
In Brazil, land covered by illegal gold mines has more than doubled in the past decade, now to an area even larger than Greater London. No one knows how many people work at these sites. The Brazilian government says it could be as many as 800,000 men. Women are also drawn there in search of a better life, but it's a big risk. The UN says the expansion of these mines is putting women at risk of violence, sexual exploitation and trafficking. The northeastern Indian state of Assam has banned people from eating beef in public places, including at restaurants and events. But the meat can still be bought in shops and eaten within homes in the state. The consumption of beef is a sensitive issue in India, as cows are revered by Hindus, who comprise 80% of the country's population, with Muslims and Christians making up a large chunk of the remainder. A judge in the US rejected a landmark plea deal agreed to by Boeing over 2 fatal crashes involving its 737 MAX aircraft. In July, the plane maker pleaded guilty to a single criminal fraud charge stemming from the crashes. Family members of the people killed in those crashes welcomed the ruling. We'll have more on this in the next half hour on Business Today. And NASA has announced a further delay to plans to send astronauts back to the moon for the first time since 1972. The mission is now set to launch in April 2026, meaning the moon landing will not take place until at least 2027, 1 year later than originally planned. Russia's been accused of interfering in Romania's elections ahead of the second round of voting for a new president this weekend. The first round saw a far-right candidate top the poll, boosted by popular nationalist videos on TikTok that have millions of views. The European Union says it will be monitoring the social media platform closely after receiving information about possible Russian interference. Moscow denies involvement.
Romania's top court annuls the results of the first round of its presidential elections. It says the whole process must be rerun. And we look ahead to the official reopening of Notre Dame 5 years on from the devastating fire there. Around the world and across the UK, this is The World Today on BBC News. In the past few minutes, millions of people in Wales and the southwest of England have received emergency alerts on their mobile phones warning of an impending serious storm. The Met Office is warning of a threat to life from Storm Dara, and widespread disruption all the way along the west coast of the UK is forecast from southern Scotland to Cornwall and Northern Ireland. The storm is also expected to bring heavy rain over the weekend across other areas. This report is from Thomas Morgan. Actually, before we go to that, I think we can listen to that alert.
The sites in Wales Alive has been such an exciting part of their education, and they can bring it to life, and they've learned about the history of Wales and the castles.
And in fact, we understand that is the largest ever use of the emergency alert system since its inception. So that has just gone out to millions of people on their phones.